Yo guys, Ousted0806 here. Want to go over this new Strafe greater rifting build for you guys, so you guys can have this thing ready to go for yourselves and maybe start pushing some high GRs if you have the gear. And even if you don't have like perfect gear or anything, you can still be able to probably be able to push higher than you've been able to push so far, just because of how safe this build is. It's really fun to play as well. The learning curve on it is a little high because you're constantly moving with Strafe, and you're trying to keep yourself in really good positions while you're channeling Strafe can be kind of a pain sometimes, but it's worth it in the end game. If you can master the build, then you should be able to push high GRs. I cleared a Greater Rift 55 with this. Let's see, was it like 2 days ago or something? Unfortunately I didn't record and I wasn't streaming. I was just kind of testing the build. I didn't think I was going to clear it, and I ended up clearing a 55, so the builds surprised me quite a bit. It's really, really strong. So let me just go into the gear for you guys. Natalia's 6-piece without the ring is the first thing I'll mention to you guys. Helmet, you can go Vitality here or Strafe. It doesn't really matter. Strafe's not counting for a ton of your damage, but it does count for some, and why not get a little extra? The Vitality is not going to help you that much. If you're pushing really high greater rifts, you're just going to get one shot anyway, pretty much no matter how much Vitality you stack, so just Strafe getting the extra damage is just fine here. Pauldron the Skeleton King, these things are really, really OP. I've never used them before Season 3, before this build actually. This is the first time I've ever actually used these shoulders, and they proc so much. Even if your awareness is still up right now, or when something hits you, it'll proc these shoulders and keep your awareness, so you can technically have 2 procs. I mean, this is only about, I did a little research on the shoulders, it's only about a 15% chance to proc the cheat death, but it procs a lot more, more often than you think. It's pretty OP. Definitely check them out and you'll see what I mean. Chest piece, again, Vitality is fine in these spots, but I really feel like Hatred Regen and Reign of Vengeance are going to be your best 2 roles for this slot, just because dropping the Vitality on your chest allows you to pick up like Wolf Companion versus Bat Companion, and still be able to stay at pretty much full Hatred the whole time while you're channeling. As long as you're spamming your generator, you can see that my Hatred's not going anywhere, and I don't even have my my Templar right now. And if you have your Templar, let me go over here and grab this guy. When you guys do run this solos, you want to make sure that the Templar has this, where is it at? This skill right here, where you gain one hatred per second. It's really nice to help you with your hatred. Now this is I just leveled up this alt, so that's why none of this is leveled up. None of this gear. Gear is on my my other Demon Hunter right now. All right, so gloves, again, we really want to stack cool. Oh, another thing with the shoulders, you want CDR. You want these are the stat priorities. Vitality can be resource cost reduction for the shoulder slot, but I don't think you can actually get it. I mean, it's possible I'm wrong, and you can, but I'm not 100% sure what these roll. I haven't done that much research on them, but I don't think you can get resource, cooldown, and Reign of Vengeance damage. If you can, I'm sorry. Maybe and you guys find a better pair, then hell yeah, that's awesome. Gloves, cooldown, crit chance, crit damage, dexterity, of course, is pretty standard. Remember, we're stacking a lot of cooldown on this build. Most of your damage is coming from Reign of Vengeance, so you want to have it up as often as possible. And going ahead and lowering the cooldown before the 2-set bonus is triggering on you is really huge. Strong arm bracers, we are using Stampede Rune on Reign of Vengeance, so this is knocking things back. So getting additional with these bracers, 26% more damage to targets that are knocked back. You're constantly knocking stuff back. The cooldown on Reign of Vengeance is so short with the set bonus and all the cooldown that you're stacking. I think we're at like 50%, yeah, 47% right now, and it can go lower. Higher, excuse me. You can get more cooldown. I'm missing some in a couple of slots. But strong arm bracers are key for the build. Fire, obviously. The neck, I think this is going to be the best neck and slot, really, guys. It's not going to be Hellfire for this build, just because you gain the cooldown with the Flavor of Time, and you still get your crit chance, crit damage, and possibly dexterity or fire damage, which I think would be even better. Well, I know it would be even better than dexterity. So this neck is really, although it's really good, it's not quite the right stats we want. Instead of dexterity here, you definitely want fire damage, and you'll pick up about 10% more damage by getting the fire damage on the neck. One of the biggest parts of the build is the belt, guys. This belt is very strong. One of the best items for Demon Hunter for this build, for sure. One of the best items they've probably put in the game, in my opinion, for a while. This is really sweet item. This one happened to roll really well thanks to one of my clanmates last night gave me this. Now, I didn't do the 55 with this belt. The belt I used was a different one, was this one. Just really good, but not quite as good as the one we have on. Like I said, just got this one last night. I just literally like 10 minutes ago rolled a chance to freeze on hit. Man, I'm really excited to try this belt out. It's just really sweet. Focus and restraint. Now, like I said, you can go cooldown. If I was missing a little bit of cooldown on a slot, instead of having crit chance, crit damage, dex on maybe one of the rings, you can bring some cooldown to get yourself over the 50%, and that'll allow you to spam or have a shorter cooldown on smoke screen, and you know what I mean. You know what cooldown does for you guys. I don't know if it's ideal or not yet though, but I ran it with these just fine. The crit chance, crit damage, dexterity. It's definitely going to be more damage with the dexterity, but having the 8% cooldown jumping you over the 50% CDR cap will be really nice. Natalia's leggings, pretty standard. You don't even have to go with these. As long as you have an ancient pair with high dex, then you should be fine. Like I said, you don't really need to prioritize any defense here. Like, I'm at 6 million defense. You shouldn't, no matter what, even if you're at like 8-9 million defense, you're still going to get one shot at 55s or something, or plus. So it doesn't really matter at all. We got really lucky on our weapon this season, guys. This weapon is very strong. I've only seen one better so far this season, and the guy that has one better is a 10% damage, 1000 dex on the dot, and 10% cooldown, and he re-rolled the damage to his is. See how mine's 1690 right now? His is a 1695, so his weapon, and he rolled 24% Rain of Vengeance damage. So his weapon's better than mine, but this one's still really good. And if you guys find something like this, then you have a chance at pushing really high greater rifts as long as you buckle down and get your gear together and try the build out. You gotta fish a little bit, but it's worth it if you take like a 50 plus. You'd be so proud of yourself, guys. Boots. We rolled movement speed here just to pick up the extra dexterity in our Paragon points. You could get strafe damage, and these aren't even the boots that I used when I did the run. The boots I used were right here. We had strafe damage on them, but we found these other ones. I'm pretty sure dexterity is going to outweigh the strafe damage, getting the move speed on them, so you can have more damage to your Rain of Vengeance, which is doing like 90-95% of your damage. Strafe is literally probably less than 5% of the damage you're dealing. Calamity here, these are the stats that I feel you want. Now, obviously, you'd want 10% cooldown, but we didn't get lucky enough to get that roll. But we did get pretty lucky and have an ancient one. It doesn't really matter what's in your offhand, to be honest, guys, as long as you have a one-hander in your offhand with a crit damage gem in it, and dexterity and cooldown. You want those stats. Now, you can get like a Balefire caster and have 20% fire, that's fine too, and then you just drop the elite damage. It's not going to be quite as effective, but still really good. Having an ancient offhand is a big deal though, because you get the higher dex. Now, strafe, and the reason that is, strafe damage, it ticks, each shot will tick main hand, offhand. So, and like I said, your strafe damage is doing like maybe 5% of your damage. So it doesn't really matter where your offhand is for that damage. Now, your Rain of Vengeance damage, it's solely off your main hand. So whatever weapon is stronger, and what I mean by stronger, you don't want to look at your DPS, which is the 3425 here. You want to look down below that, the 2644 area, 1638 to 2644. Whatever weapon has that number, the higher, which in this case is this one. This one's 2175, this one's 2644. That's the weapon you want in your main hand. That's the weapon that's gonna, your Rain of Vengeance is proccing from. That's where all its damage is based from, is your main hand weapon. So make sure, even if it's your Calamity or your Balefire caster or whatever that's ancient, you want to swap them over and put that in your main hand, because you're still going to get the 25% damage from your offhand to the Rain of Vengeance. And that's all you really care about if you don't have like an Ancient Gnat Slayer or something, and you do have an Ancient Balefire Caster, Calamity, or whatever the one-hander is that you're using. Which those two are probably going to be the best in slot, Calamity or our Balefire Caster. For gems, you want Bane of the Trap. The Stampede rune is proccing it. Your Templar is going to proc it. There's a ton of things that are going to proc it, so you definitely want to use your Bane of the Trap for sure. Zays, you're keeping stuff far enough away from you with Stampede that you want to use Zays, because you're going to get the pretty much the full benefit of the damage, especially against blue packs. Like, blue packs can be knocked back by Rain of Vengeance, so you can keep them at bay and keep Zays procced. Yellow packs are a little bit different. You got to kind of kite those guys, because you can't knock them back with Stampede. So, but you still got to kite them, and you can keep them at distance, and you have enough cooldown to have Smokescreen up a lot of the time. And plus, I'll go over the skills a little bit, but you're using Focus Mine, so you can spam Smokescreen when you need to. Now, the Tegu, very, very important gem. It's really nice that Demon Hunter actually gets to use it now with the build. I mean, there's, if you guys watch my Unhollowed Lightning video, you can see how you can use it with that build too. It's with that build, you have to sacrifice a skill to use Chakram and all that, and you can just watch the video and see it's still good, but not quite as good as using it with this build, because you're literally stacking it with Tegu. You see it there, stacking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can keep this up, and then when you're not fighting mobs and you're running through the map, you can just tap it one time while you're getting to the next mob. You know, and you want to shoot your generator too. Obviously, you can keep your hatred up, you know, while you're getting from mob to mob. But you can see how quickly this really, really stacks up. So even if you die, or whatever happens, if you drop them for some reason going from map to map, like, you know how the load screen sometimes can cause you to drop them, you can easily get it right back up really quick, which is huge, man. It's really, really huge. Very, very nice gem for this build. I'm really happy that we actually get to use it now, on a more consistent basis. Alright, so that's the gear, guys. Let's go over the skills really quick. We chose Rocket Storm here just for the fire damage. Honestly, it doesn't. You're getting good, like, decent damage of it, but remember, this is only for stacking Tegu, just constantly moving, and, you know, this is like the best skill for the slot, honestly, that we found so far. Stampede rune. This rune is really, really good with strong arms. The main damage of your build, getting things knocked back, so you can keep everything away from you, stay safe, and get your damage out. Focus Mine. Sometimes you will, when you're doing really high greater rifts, you will get in a little bit of trouble. So you're using Smokescreen, and then you're using Focus Mine as well with it. That way you can just kind of, if you need to, you can spam it. Now, if you're running low on hatred, you can't seem to keep your hatred up like I do. It means you're probably just missing a couple of rolls. There's a couple of things that you can do. You know, you can use Preparation Punishment is one of them. So instead of using Focus Mine, you'll use Punishment. You're just going to have to be a little more cautious with your smoke screening if you do that. Evasive Fire Focus. This generates 7 hatred. That's basically the only reason we use it. It shoots out in a cone as well, I guess, and it's easy to proc your Focus and Restraint with it. Wolf Companion, and again, here's another spot that you can pick up some hatred regen if you're having problems. Instead of using Wolf, just use Bat here. So gives you 1 hatred per second. Plus, on top of that, on an active, you gain 50 hatred. I used this at the beginning when I first started trying this build because I was running low on hatred. And I tried finding other ways to get hatred, and the way we did was get our chest piece with the 1.5 on it now. So that helped us and allowed us to drop Bat Companion into Wolf Companion. And then your passives, Call of the Week. Like I said, Stampede and your Templar are going to proc this for you, along with the Bane of the Trapped. Awareness, you know you want your Cheat Death all the time if you're trying to push high GRs for sure. Steady Aim, you're keeping things away from you guys, so Steady Aim gets a lot of value from Stampede rune. Really good synergy here. And Ambush, just for the extra 40% damage, like your belt is hitting. Well, right now I have my belt hitting for about 8, somewhere between 8 to 11 billion. Like as high as I've seen it is 11 billion. But that's with Power Pylon for the 11 billion. But I've seen it hit as high as about 8 billion without power, which is pretty crazy. Once we get more Paragon points, we'll probably see that number keep rising and rising as well. I know on non-seasons, when I tried, if you guys, and I'll have the other video down there too that you guys maybe have already watched, the 51 Nats build that I did before Season 3 even started. I had the belt critting for like 9 billion, 10 billion or something like that. It wasn't the strafe build, it was the chakram build. But you guys can go check that out at your own leisure as well. And I think that's about it. Oh, another thing. One thing you can do if you got the 2 skills, you can go punishment and bat companion to help you with hatred regen if you're having problems. Another thing you can do is maybe drop one of your passives, and I recommend if you're going to drop one, probably ambush, and pick up archery, because now you're using two one-handed bows, so two one-handed crossbows, excuse me. So you're getting the hand crossbow here, the 5% crit chance, and since you have the second hand has a crossbow in it too, you're getting 1 hatred per second. So this is going to help you with your hatred regen and your crit chance. You know, if you're low, like this kind of balances them out, to be honest. But the 40% damage for me was just a little bit better. But if your gear is not quite up to this par, then hey, just pick up the archery and it's just fine. I think that's about it, guys. Remember, your Templar needs the Inspire here, and that'll help you with your hatred regen too. Don't forget about that guy. And yeah, happy hunting, guys. Hopefully you guys find a rift that you can clear with this, and I hope it helps you a lot. I hope you enjoy the build, because I've really been enjoying it a lot. And you can even change up the build a little bit with a couple of different skills. I mean, you can use these, so you just change up some of the skills, and you can watch my T6 guide and see that too, how you change it up a little bit to run speeds with it. So this isn't just solely for pushing greater rifts. You can easily do speed runs with it. You just want to pick up some like movement speed, like, you know, just pick up like tack advantage instead of that, and then maybe instead of steady aim, you pick up like hot pursuit or something. You know, just do some testing, guys. Have some fun with it. It is a fun spec. And, you know, don't forget to check me out on my channel daily. I start streaming at 3 to 4 p.m., I should say, on twitch.tv/ousted0806. And I'll have the link in the description below, guys. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. And, you guys have yourselves a good day.